Hey everyone, this is Prince Watercress, and welcome back to Let's Play Tougi King Colossus. And this is the last platforming puzzle of the game. All we have to do is just watch these two platforms and we'll basically be past the hardest part of this whole thing. You can go into this room if you want, all full of those little flashing tiles. If you can get those two chests, you'll be able to find some healing herbs, I think. The medicinal herbs. Be sure to save in that room, that way you don't have to do that first jump ever again. And from here, you want to use these two platforms to get to the left side of the room again. I'm going to time your jump carefully on this last set of platforms. You want to be able to land right where the first platform is, just before it pops up. And from there, if you can keep going forward, you should be able to make your way through the rest of this, and it's pretty easy after that set of 4 disappearing and reappearing platforms. And I nearly fell down there, but thankfully I managed to stay on the platform. But yeah, we are now finally done. Once you get past that part, you want to save here, because I know you don't want to go through that again. Now we got a couple more rooms to go. I actually checked my map prior to recording this part, and turns out we're pretty much right at the end. We really don't have much farther to go now. We've got a few more moving platforms right here, but other than that, it's a quick, linear path to the end. So once you get past that last platforming room, that's it. It's pretty much over. You still have this room to deal with, which has a little bit of a twist to it. You not only have a bunch of skeletons that you have to fight, but you also have this mini-boss-like enemy to deal with one last time. Definitely want to concentrate on the mini-boss whenever you see him. That way you can make sure that you get rid of him as quickly as possible. Definitely want to get rid of him first. I believe there are about 5 skeletons in this room that you need to kill off. And once you kill those off, you should be able to open the door. And you'll know when you've opened the door when you hear the door open. But by this point, you should definitely be used to how that works by now. You finally got rid of the mini-boss, so let's go ahead and gain another level here. Regain that little sliver of health, because we got some new health upon reaching level 28. And now we just have these skeletons to deal with. And make sure you listen for the sound of the door opening every time you kill a skeleton. Like so. Once you hear that sound happen, you don't have to worry about looking for other skeletons. You're pretty much able to get out of here. And this is the final room that you can save in. If you get here, you want to save, because past this point is the boss. We are now approaching the final battle. All we need to do now is just fight these skeletons for the experience, and then we'll be pretty much on our way to the end of the game. And thankfully I had that shield, so that way that skeleton couldn't damage me. Alright. This is the statue that Lord Zakar was talking about. Walk up to it, and you'll hear a voice come from the statue. It will tell you that King Carlim is a magnificent ruler. Don't you agree? Well, if you want to take the elevator, you gotta kiss some butt, and you gotta select yes. If you select no, you're gonna fall back down the floor, and you're gonna have to make your way back over here. So when you hit the elevator, choose yes. And we are now on the highest floor, and we finally reached King Carlim. But he's not gonna give up right away. He will run away, and he will have these statues chase after us. They just come to life, and they attack us. Amazingly, these statue enemies are not that strong at all, and they're also enemies that you've already fought before. Lizard enemies were pretty weak. And so are the skeletons. Those two can go down in one hit. But as you pass through the rooms, you'll meet some enemies that will go down in two. Like these swordmen. You don't have to fight these guys, but if you need a little more experience to get up just that one more level, feel free to do so. And we have one more room full of all these stone golem guys that we have to fight before we can finally approach Carlene. Just like all the other enemies, these guys will come to life when you get close. These guys at this point will go down in probably 2 hits if you're at the same level that I am. And the path that you want to take isn't the one at the far right like the game wants you to believe. You actually want to go through the second from left. That leads straight to the doorway, leading to the top of the castle. Again, if you want to fight the monsters here for the experience, go ahead, because that's what I'm doing. Of course, I'm obviously not going to get to 29 at this rate. I also decided to go ahead and use the Morning Star here, strongest weapon I have that can go through walls, to take care of these guys. Thankfully, I'm also able to do it in 2 hits. And then I switch back to the triple bow, because why not? Yeah, just a few more enemies, and we should be able to clear this room out, just because I can. And here's the path that you want to take. This one, the second from left. And I go ahead and take down this guy with the Morning Star because I can. I also check my stuff again just to make sure I have the right spell. I did have time stop. I just wanted to make sure because we are going to need time stop later. For now, we got 2 more statues, and then after that, that's it for the enemies here. We can finally go up these stairs, and here we are. We're finally face to face with King Carlene. Carlene wants us to spare his life, and then if he does, and if we do, we'll give him anything that we desire. He'll give us anything that we desire. I cannot speak to save my life today. Of course, that's not going to happen, mostly because we pretty much killed off the rest of Desire's followers as well as Desire herself. He even tries to make us king of the Gnaw, but, well, he's obviously going to have to do more than that. But he approaches the statue of Griud at the other end here, and he finally finds out that Lord Griud has revived. Lord Griud finally speaks. And yeah, he definitely grants Carlene's wish alright. Just before he kills him. So much for King Carlene. But now, the evil Griud has entered this world, and we gotta fight him off. And so begins this boss fight. We are now in another dimension, again. And we are now on in this little field that spans endlessly. Watch for the shadows, then shoot at these, I guess you could say, hands with the crossbow. I want to keep thinking they're feet, but they look more like hands. Both hands have their own health bars, so once you take out one, you have to take out the other. Be sure to stay on the move whenever you hear some exploding sound. If you're near enough to the hands so that you can see the laser shoot out from the tops of them, you'll be able to know it's coming. But even if you don't, just wait for that exploding sound and watch for the shadow too. Be sure to stay on the move as well, so that way those lasers don't hit you. Lasers that strangely turn into parts of Ryu's arm. As long as you stay on the move and keep hitting the arms when you can, you should do well here. And you'll soon take on Ryu's second form. Basically, you want to move up or down to avoid the hands, and then when the hands meet, they'll explode. Once that happens, you want to focus your attacks on Ryu's head. You definitely want to get to the side of him and run away from him, trying to hit him with the crossbow as you do so. After he shoots 5 lasers, that's when he'll send the hands at you again. When that happens, you want to move up or down to completely avoid them. Then you go back to facing the head again. Really, really easy pattern. And after fighting Ryu, we seem to be in what seems like an anticlimactic situation here. Everyone says that you've destroyed the Lord Ryu, but it doesn't seem that exciting. Why are you still able to control the player? Why are you still able to talk to everybody? Why is everyone blocking the path to the doors? Well, obviously you're going to have to go back outside of the castle, but if you want, you can talk to everybody and everyone will be like, "Yay, we're finally at peace, yay!" And of course you'll also run the Gonku as well, who will tell you that the souls of those who died in the Colosseums have finally been avenged. So at least his wishes come true, apparently. And you can also talk to Fam one more time, just like you did with Ganat and those 2 guys up top. And she'll tell you that everyone is waiting for you outside of the castle. So, let's go outside the castle. Everyone is back outside the castle, and everyone cheers you on for coming back out of there alive. Mook will tell you that your mother and father must be overjoyed for finally beating Lord Griud. Your sister Flora is happy for you too. And the people will want you to become the king of Danal. You also get to hear from Iria one more time before you get sent into another dimension again! Turns out you didn't really kill Griud after all! Turns out he just lay there dormant, waiting for you to leave the castle with your guard down before he could suck you back in here. Now his power is finally at 100%, but thankfully, we can still beat him at this point. You want to equip the Shining Sword for this round here, and you want to make sure you have time stop. This is why I checked to see if I had it. When the battle begins, use time stop. You can move in any direction you want, just like in the first battle with Griud, and be sure not to run into him. That way you don't take a heck of a lot of damage. And while time stop is working, you want to keep smacking him with the Shining Sword. If the background starts moving again, if it flashes and it starts moving again, that's when you want to hit him. Well, it's still moving, but if it starts flashing, you know you want to use time stop again. You'll basically be using time stop twice on this guy, as well as the sword. And, well, we're not done with this battle. We still have the second form. This is basically Griu's head flying around, shooting fireballs that move around in a circle-like motion of sorts while homing into you. Now I've used time stop a 3rd time, and I'm now almost out of health, and don't have another magic point to cast time stop one more time. But we are able to get Ryu's health bar back down to half again. From here on out, you want to use the triple bow. Just keep Ryu's head on screen and just keep hitting him. Because we use time stop to do all that damage, we have more than enough health to do this with. And because we found basically everything, he's much easier to deal with. When we beat Ryu in this second form, we finally beat Ryu. The adventure is finally over. And I like how he calls the main character a pathetic human. He knows that he's lost. And in a last-ditch effort, he tries to take the main character with him. And thankfully, magic powers of some sort are able to get us out of there before that can happen. We finally hear a message from our late father, the King of Luphilia, King Orphus. He tells it that those in the Abyss can finally rest in peace due to our efforts at fighting and defeating Ryu. And for that, our destiny is complete, and we can do whatever we want. We also get to hear from the Queen of Luphilia, our mother. I'm assuming that's who that is. And she tells us that we can now live for ourselves. We are now outside, and Iria has been looking for us, and thankfully she has found us. Iria will basically tell you what happened from basically everyone else's points of view, where you basically suddenly vanished into the sky. And you find out you're behind Denal Castle. And that a mysterious voice told Iria that we would be here. I'm assuming that mystery voice would probably be one of the... Oh, it was a woman's voice, so it would have to be the Queen of Luphilia. She said, "Take care of Watercress." See, the voice tells her to take care of us. And thankfully we're safe. And from here on out, Iria wants to go back to the castle. And she wants to take you with her to make sure that everyone knows you're alright. Now from here, you can choose whether or not you want to do that. For this ending, I'm going to choose yes. Here's what happens if you choose yes. And I'm pretty sure you expected this to happen, so did I. Watercress returned to the castle and took Iria as his wife. They marry and become the king and queen of Denal. I'm assuming Flora becomes the princess. We use our resources to help rebuild the other countries, ushering in a long era of peace. And from this day forward, our great legacy gives us a new nickname, the Great King Colossus, which was remembered for many generations to come. At least we now know what the title comes from. And the picture of the statue of ourselves goes to grayscale, and we finally see the ending credits to this wonderful, wonderful game. It's not perfect. It's more or less like the games from the E series, and of course Lagoon, the last game that I played. But when you compare this to Lagoon, it does so many things better. The challenge is just right. The sound and music are so much better. The graphics are just as decent. They still have that little anime style to them. Controls work great. You have a lot of weapons to work with now. And all in all, it's a very, very good game. And I'll give out my real final thoughts in the next video. Because the next video will show off the other ending. What if you didn't go back to the castle and assume the throne? Think about that. Until then, this is Prince Watercress. Take care, stay safe, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where I wrap this up with the other ending as well as my final thoughts. See you guys later.